What up? It's your girl Motivation with V. We're gonna keep rolling.
Okay, yes.
What up? It's your girl Motivation with V, and I'm your host, Veronica Suazo. Thank you so much to everyone that has tuned in my last episode. I'm so excited to have you guys back today. Today, we're going to be talking about self-love. What is self-love? And today, we have a guest, y'all. Clap it up. I'm so excited. I've actually been following her since back in my Herbalife days. So, for those that listened to the first episode, I actually talked about how my personal development journey and self love journey started when I was doing Herbalife. The community that came with Herbalife was beautiful. They were all on the same journey, and Joanna so happened to be doing Herbalife as well. And I'm pretty sure we probably crossed paths at a conference or online, but I have been following her since then. She's posts nothing but positivity, her doing exercises, everything that embodies self-love. And so I'm excited to have her on today to tell us a little bit more about her journey and her self-love journey and just her story in general. So without further ado, Joanna,
Hi,
it's all you.
guys. Well, hi, I'm Joanna. I live in Tri-Cities, Washington, not Washington, D.C. A little bit about me and a self-love journey here. It started back in, I want to say 2015 is when I signed up with Herbalife, not knowing what that was. And so it taught me a lot about discovering who you are, about good habits, and then speaking light into your life. And so I'm very grateful for that because when I tend to lean away from that, it's really easy to tell, be in that negative mindset sometimes with everything that's going on in the world, and so you get caught up in like the negative aspect of telling yourself that you're not good enough or when you failed or didn't pass something. So I'm really grateful for that because it's a good reminder to just kind of go back because being positive and feeding good stuff into your mind takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. And so,
That's the key
so
word, work.
yes, work, girl. It takes a lot of work to shut off those negative thoughts and negative comments that you tell yourself, and so I just like to put on some AC/DC music and just jam it out. And they're like, okay, I'm back. Let's regroup.
What
Yeah.
what inspired your journey towards self-love? Was there like a significant moment in your life where you felt like this was it? I need to start working on my self-love.
Yeah. Yeah. It was right
I'm
after
sh-
I
I'm
had my,
sure that I'm sure you have a bunch, but feel
I
free to share
do,
whichever.
but this particular, what kind of triggered this journey with starting with Herbalife, I've been the fat girl my entire life. And so, like, oh, you're so pretty in the face, but I was like, just in the face? Like, really? I would get that so much. And then right after I had my son in 2007, I started going because in 2007, I turned 21. So I was able to go to the bars and, be around all those grown ups. So, like, wow, you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful, but in the face. And I was seeking outside validation from, guys and wanting to be like, I don't know. I don't know at this time. I guess I was seeking, but I was tired of that comment. And, and I was like, I'm tired of like seeking outside validation. I'm tired of people saying you're just pretty in the face. And so I wanted to believe that from me. And so I started doing the work and finding what is self love? Like, how do I want to feel? How do I want to be treated? Especially now that I have, at the time, now I have 3 kids. I have a 22-year-old girl, 17-year-old boy, and a 15-year-old girl. And so in my journey of self-discovering my love and like going on bad dates, um, having the worst men as partners, like, oh my gosh, I saw how bad it was affecting my kids. And I was like, for me growing up, it's like, do what I say, not what is it? Do what I say, not as I do. And I was like, okay, that's
Hmm.
kind of, yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
hypocritical, right? I'm like, why? So I brought that into how I parent my kids, and I thought it wasn't fair. And so I had to set a better example. I'm like, I want them to be the best human beings possible. So I have to do some work. I need to shed these beliefs. And so I think that's what started everything was back in 2007.
Wow. Honestly, I want to give it up to you because it's so hard to really think in that way where you're like, it's not just about me anymore, but it's about my
Yeah.
kids. And
Yeah.
they're literally seeing the way that you are, the way that you act, the way that you are in relationships. And
Yeah.
they might not say anything, but they do take that on later in
Oh
life.
my gosh. No,
So
definitely.
yeah, I'm glad you're saying that because I'm sure there's a lot of moms that will be listening in on this. And I think this is really important. When children are involved, it's not just about you anymore. It's about the
No.
little human beings that you have next to you
Yeah.
and making sure that you're the best version of yourself, not just for yourself, but for them. So that's
Absolutely.
beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. Thank you. I did see with my son that he was dating girls and breaking their hearts, but the way that he was dating, and then our community here in Tri-City is very small. And so all of my friends are telling me, hey, your son is breaking my daughter's heart, or your son is fighting with my son because of this girl. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I had a friend that said to me, and I love him very much, and I shout out to him because what he said to me changed my perspective too. He said to me, he's like, Joanna, you need to focus on you and stop dating and seeking outside validation because it's affecting your son. And I was like, at first I was mad. I was like, whatever, what are you talking about? No, it doesn't. Mine's perfect. My son, blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
That's the
oh my gosh.
ego.
Yes, my ego, girl, my ego was so
I hear
big.
you.
It was so big. I'm like, what are you talking about? Blah, blah.
Don't tell me how to parent. Don't tell me how to live
Yeah.
my life, right? Yeah. I
But
know. I get it.
it broke my heart because those two boys, my friend boy and my son, were friends since they were really little. And so I, I, and I care about this person. So I was like, oh my gosh, he's right. And so, and that was, 2020 or 2022.
Let me ask
So
you this. When he
yeah,
told you that, how long did
yeah,
it take for you to accept that what he was saying was true?
couple weeks.
Oh, that's not bad.
No,
That's not bad at all. Okay.
yeah. So I was like, my son's a mama's boy. So, and well, what triggered too, Metal, is that I saw a TikTok that my son posted, and he was like zoomed in. He was in the car. He zoomed in into my window, and it was something. Oh, it's gonna make me cry. He was talking
It's
about
okay.
something
Let
along
it
the
out.
lines. I know, along the lines like he's like, you don't see me. I
It's
wish that
okay.
you were
Take a minute.
here. I know. He's like basically saying that I was so focused into the gym, so focused on like dating, finding love. And at that moment, I'm like, I was still there for them. Like, I still did things with them. But I guess it wasn't enough. There was something that he was missing that I was missing. And so I'm like, and I saw that by accident. I came across his page and I was like, Joanna, you're so selfish. Like, these kids are crying for help and you're not listening, you know? So yeah, I had to make a change. Had to. There was no choice. I was like, okay, you need to stop being selfish. Yeah.
And thank you for being vulnerable. This is a safe space. I want you to feel like you can cry. I want you to feel like you can say whatever you want to say. There's
Yes.
no judgment on my end, but that's beautiful that you were able to catch on to that, from just him sending that picture to you. It's really hard for
Hmm.
us as humans in general to really look within and just like
Yeah.
hold ourselves accountable and say like, fuck, I've been
Yeah.
fucking up. Like I haven't
Yeah.
been doing this. I can do better. And
Yeah.
that shows growth. Us as humans, we are not perfect. And for you to be able to just look within and be like, okay, I need to make these changes,
Hmm.
not just for me, but for him, for my
Hmm.
kids. Like, I applaud you for that because
Yeah.
not a lot of people can do that seriously.
Yeah. I just don't want them to go through the same thing I went through and then have that trickle into their adulthood because it does affect you in the last few months. I just been going across, like talking to dentists, like my coworkers, and how much your childhood affects you till this day. And they're happily married with children, and they still talk about, remember that one time, you know? And so I had to change. I had to, so that way they don't have those kind of stories. And if they do, it's for lessons and growth purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Why do you think why do you think self-love is so important? Like, what do you think the audience should know? It's like, why is self-love so important? And I mean, I kind of feel like you answered that within your journey,
Yeah.
especially for you as a mom. But why do you
Yeah.
think in general self-love is important?
So when I went through that breakup, I was angry. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I started dressing like a man. Does that make sense? I don't know. I was in
Mm-hmm.
sweats. I wasn't girly. I lost myself. And my interactions with people were were so bad. They were so like I would trigger them, I guess, or I wasn't disrespectful, but in a way I was just kind of short. And so that kind of came across as like they were afraid of me because I was so angry. I was like a walking storm. And when you don't show yourself love, when you don't take the time to rest, when your body's asking to rest, when you don't eat properly, it affects everything in your life, everything. When you're not showing yourself love, like, your hygiene, your exercise, especially if you know that exercise brings you joy and you're not doing those things, and and then you're just kind of rotting in the bed, it's just like it's not good for anybody.
It really isn't. It's not good for you and it's not good
Yeah.
for everyone else you encounter
Right.
because that's when the
Yeah.
claws come out.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, I don't like this version of me. I don't know who I am. Like this is not who Joanna is. Like, and there was like rumors going around and just bad stuff. And I was so angry because of all that stuff that just happened with this previous gym that I was at. It was horrible. Um, and I let them dictate who I was because of those moments. And when you don't have self-love, you let everybody in the world dictate who you are and put labels on you. And yes, because, I'm like, no, you need to stand firm on who you are because anybody can have an opinion of you. And if you allow yourself to accept that, no, I'm not okay with that.
I
I'm not, no.
100% agree with that. That I think that's kind of what I was trying to say earlier
Hmm.
is when you have self-love, you you don't allow any external validation or anyone
Yeah,
to affect you and what you
yeah,
understand of yourself. It's like
yeah,
anyone like for me, my self-love I feel like is so high up there and of course
yeah,
like every day it's still growing, but I
yeah,
do not allow anyone who doesn't like me or talk shit about me or
right.
whatever hatred,
Yeah,
it's more of like, I'm gonna pray for you. I genuinely
yeah,
love you still because I know that
yeah.
you're dealing with baggage, that there's something going on in your life that makes you that way. And I know
Mm,
who I am, and I'm not gonna
mhm,
allow for any external voices to ever dictate what my self
mhm.
love is, my self worth. So
Yeah,
I
that is
understand that.
me. Yes. I did that for a long time because like growing up, my dad didn't allow me to have my own opinions. He was a great father. He wasn't mean, but I felt like I wasn't able to show emotion. Or, for example, he would tell me, "Oh, what's your favorite?" Or ask me, "What's your favorite soda?" And I would answer, "Oh, orange soda." Wrong. It's Dr. Pepper. You like Dr. Pepper. And I was like, okay. And my entire life was like that. And so, like, growing up, and even after I became a mom, I still had to get validation from other people. So within those years that I told you about changing my habits and finding who I actually am, like who is Joanna, um, yeah, I'm no longer doing that anymore. So I think those people who knew me before is still kind of stuck on like, oh, I can, dictate who she is, but Yeah, it's definitely a journey.
Wait, you bring up a good point. You said that your dad would tell you
Yeah.
that he would tell you what your favorite soda was. And he
Yes.
said it so much that you started to believe it,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So you bring a good point because I feel like that's something that society does to us women.
Mhm.
And I think that's why it's so hard for us to embody self-love and to try to be selfish enough
Yeah.
to be in that journey, because society is always telling us we don't matter. You don't matter. You don't matter. You don't deserve to get paid as much as men. You
Right.
don't deserve to this, that, and the third. You're not a
Yeah.
queen. You need to
Yeah.
take care of the man, etc.
Mhm.
And so,
Mhm.
like, exactly like your example, it's like it's been so engraved in us
Mhm.
that we start to believe it, and
Mhm.
then we're just like, okay, so then we self sabotage, and we don't we don't even think about ourselves at that point anymore.
Right. Yeah, because you forget. You like, okay, well, they're telling me that I have to be this, and they're telling me I have to be that. Then I guess, okay, that's accepted. But I knew deep down, I was like, no, I don't want this. I want this and the other. And so that's when you're labeled stubborn and uncooperative.
Triggered.
Girl, I'm just saying. And so I've been labeled stubborn. I was like, you know what? I stand in that truth. I am stubborn because now I know what I want, what I don't want. And if it doesn't make the other person happy, because I have my own opinions and like respectfully, and so that's okay. Call me stubborn. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know what? We have to be okay with other people thinking of us in another light. Like,
Yeah.
someone calling you stubborn, if you really think about it, like, that's their perspective of you. Does
Hmm.
that make it true? No,
Yeah.
unless you think it's true.
Yeah.
So, like, for me, what I do is, like, people will always have their opinions of me, their own perspectives of me from, like, the
Yeah.
past,
Right.
but I know who I am now in this
Yeah.
present moment, and only I know that.
Yeah.
So I don't let those people phase me, or like people's
Yeah.
perspectives of me. I can't change anybody's narrative about me. All I
Yeah.
can do is just be me
Yeah. That's
authentically.
beautiful. That's
Thank
true.
you.
That is so true. I love that.
I
Yes.
I mean, I
Girl
feel like
power.
us as women, like, we try so hard to like
Yeah.
be like to fit in. Um
Yes.
and you don't have to, just be yourself. And we have to be
Mhm.
okay with the fact that some people are just not, they're not our cup of tea, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
And we're not gonna be for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damned
Yeah.
if I do, damned if I don't.
Girl, for real. That's my motto.
Really?
Yes, because it's true. I'm like, okay, before I would get so flustered, I'm like, well, I can't, this is not enough for you. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know which way direction go, but it's just, that was a constant battle and it's so true. But you know what? Whatever. It's fine. It's fine, girl.
So I have another question.
Yeah.
What do you currently do right now in your daily life to embody self-love?
So you remember Les Brown and Jim Rohn, and so the personal development, that's the first thing I get on YouTube or on Spotify, and I listen to those motivational speeches. And that's the first thing I hear in the morning. I don't look at Instagram. I don't like open TikTok. I was like, I need to listen to that first before I start my day. And it just kind of sets the tone for the rest of the day. So
I love
yeah.
that. I love
Yeah.
listening to motivational, inspiring video clips like that. But to
Yeah.
listen to that first thing in the morning is
Yeah.
that's amazing, because I'm sure a lot of people don't start their day that way. And that does set the tone for your
Oh,
day.
it honestly does. I'm not perfect. It's not every day that I do that, but 99% of the time I do. And if I like listen to like trap music or some Megan Thee Stallion, then I'm just like aggressive all day, like, oh, say something.
You gotta save Megan Thee Stallion for the gym,
I'm just saying for real.
or Nicki Minaj. That's my
Because I
gym
was like,
music right there. I mean, we could still embody that, you know,
I
but
know. But I was like, what kind of attitude am I?
you're gonna wake up in the morning like wanting to
Like,
twerk.
what? Oh my God, seriously.
Hey, you know
Oh,
what?
dude.
That's not bad at all. It's not
No,
bad
no,
to
I
start
love
your
them
day that
girls.
way. I feel like
Yeah,
it still gets you
yeah,
like in a positive hype mood,
it
you know?
does. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, but yeah, so setting the tone for yourself for like the I am affirmations. y- I had a chiropractor that I went in there kind of like stressed out about work. He's like, "Well, Joanna, you need to find another job because that job wasn't great." And so, but what he said was, he's like, "You need to start your day with I am affirmations." And I'm like, "That's so boring." Fine.
Your chiropractor told you that?
Yeah,
Wow.
I know, right? You know how we talked about like we attract people, we don't meet people by accident. It's on purpose. And so he had mentioned that. He's like,
Law of
this is
attraction.
yes. So we are on the bit on the same frequency, him and I. Not romantically, but just kind of like, nah, not like that. Not like that. But yeah,
No, no.
he's like, you meet people, law of attraction. So I'm like, oh my gosh. He does personal development too. It's so it was kind of cool to meet somebody like that. I'm like, no way. He's like, yes, Joanna, you need to start the I am affirmations every day. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. This is not what I wanted to hear. I wanted to vent, and you telling me I'm right. But that was a great reminder.
Not a man
Yeah.
telling you what to do. No,
Not a
I'm just
man
kidding.
telling me, for real. I'm
No,
like,
no.
whatever. I'm out of here.
He did give you some solid
He,
advice though. I
he
think those
did.
affirmations are important to
Yeah.
practice every day as part of
Yeah.
your routine.
Honestly, yeah. Because then if you don't remind yourself of who you are, you start to believe everybody else. And so um, I have to stay on top of that because as an
Yeah.
empath and a former people pleaser,
Same here. I'm part of
yes,
the people
girl.
pleaser club.
Hey,
Former people pleaser club.
yeah, you know how easy that is to just kind of get lost in that, right? Like, dang.
Yeah,
So,
that's a whole other episode, by the way, that
yeah,
I'm going to be talking about people pleasing. So I'm excited
girl.
to talk about that
Yeah,
because I had to break out of that. And I did finally. I have my
yeah,
moments, but
yeah.
I definitely feel like it's something that people need to
Hmm.
hear about because us as women are always people pleasing,
Oh my
always.
gosh,
And that's how
yeah.
we put ourselves last.
Yeah,
But we won't go there.
no, not
Um,
yet.
no. What
Yeah.
other things do you feel like you practice that help you with just making your self-love just brighter and better?
Well, I feel like surrounding yourself with the right people, the right like-minded people also. But for me, I spent a lot of time by myself, um, because I need to shut out the outside noise, right? And telling me who I am and just discovering what I like, what are my favorite drinks, what is my favorite food. So funny as it sounds, like I do a lot of coloring. So
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah, coloring and just kind of listening to high frequency
Music.
music. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
I
So
started listening to that too when I study or if I'm
yeah,
reading for school. Makes a
yeah.
difference.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. And so I do a lot of that and singing. I sing my little heart out. I'm not the greatest singer, but it just kind of releases something internally, like right here, because I've always been told to kind of to shut up. Like children should be seen, not heard. And so I didn't have a voice for the longest time. And so I'm really grateful for this opportunity to voice what I've been through and how I overcame all these things. I feel my arms tingling from energy right now. Is that weird?
Ooh, all
I
the
know.
frequencies were
Yeah.
aligning.
Hmm. Yeah. So that's why I've never spoke up to things and I've always accepted, you know, this is how things should be. And I never questioned it verbally. Right. Um, so I've been doing a lot of that, a lot of reading, and just playing music. Music gets me through it. So nothing too crazy,
So
nothing too,
it so pretty much what it sounds like is for you with your self-love, like to
yeah.
practice it every day. it's doing things that bring joy, that make you happy,
Yeah.
like coloring, like
Yeah.
singing your heart out, doing
Yeah.
those things that just make you feel good. Because, yeah,
Right.
those things make you happy. That's all
Yeah.
part of the self-love journey. There's that, there's the physical part of it where you
Yeah.
get some movement in your day and take a walk or you go exercise.
Yeah.
All of those definitely can help you with self-love. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it sounds a little silly, but it's those things because being an adult is so stressful and you have to be, they say, like, well, the kids and you just get lost. And so just taking the time that what makes you happy, I feel like that's important. And that's self-love. It's just to remind yourself of, to go back to those things that used to make you happy before you had children or, you know, whatever. Yeah.
And I just want to say, because you said this is like one of the first times you feel like you're able to voice yourself on this podcast. I
Yeah.
feel honored that I'm even
Yeah.
able to give you this opportunity
Thank
to
you.
voice yourself. I think that's amazing. And obviously, like the universe aligned us together for
Yeah.
this moment. So that's great. But you bring up another good point where you felt like most of your life you weren't able to voice yourself.
I
And
was
so
not.
that's why you spend so much time alone now,
Mhm.
just trying to figure out who you are, what you love, and finally
Mhm.
just like embodying yourself. And I can only
Yeah.
imagine how many other women out there
Yeah.
are going through the same situation as
Yeah.
you or have.
Yeah.
And that's why it's hard for them to really put themselves first and
Yeah.
get in this self-love journey because we've been so
Yeah.
programmed to not think of ourselves.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
that we need to step up as women and
Yeah.
share our stories so we
Yeah.
can inspire more women to say enough is enough.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
time to put
Yeah.
myself first.
Yeah.
Because like I said in the other video,
Yeah.
you cannot pour from an empty cup. You
Yeah.
just can't.
I was trying to, and you know what? I was really trying to, and I got overwhelmed, and I put a lot of things on my plate, and it like I wasn't able to function. And so at that time, when I was trying to pour from an empty cup, because I was on that flight or fight mode for a
Mm.
long time, and I was starting projects and not finishing them, starting and not finish, and I'll get so angry with myself, like, why can I not be successful? Why, I'm letting all these people down. It's because I didn't have anything in me to pour out to anybody, So I was trying to fill a void and ignore a lot of things that happened in my life and seeking other things, some not healthy either.
Another question for you.
Yeah.
What do you think are the biggest misconceptions about self-love?
That's a great question. I would say, you know, the mani pedicures, getting your hair done, that's all important. The facials, shopping sprees, trip, that's all great. But I feel like self-love, you need to take time for yourself, by yourself, figure out the things that make you tick, that makes you who you are. Like, I'm not saying don't go spending money and getting your hair done, but if you don't do the inner work, because that's truly where it stands, like where it comes from. So that way you can be a better person for your family, for your kids, for your spouse, your partner, for your coworkers, your boss, for the community. If you don't take the time to deal with those things, you're going to always end up in the same predicament, in the same situations, and asking yourself, why isn't this changing?
I completely agree with you when it comes to misconceptions about self-love.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting manis and petties and
Oh
taking
my God.
care of your inner or your outer beauty, but it's also
Yes.
taking care of your mind, reading positive
Yes.
books, doing personal development, looking at your triggers, your traumas. Therapy is excellent.
Yeah.
And just being kinder to yourself, doing them daily affirmations, all
Yeah.
of that is so important. And yeah, it's not just about, buying makeup and getting
Yeah.
new shoes. But also, I do want to say it's also about going to your doctor's appointments, your
Yeah.
dentist appointments, your vision appointments.
Thank
Like it's about really taking care of yourself, not just internally, but also externally. Like all
Yeah.
of it is important.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to your doctor's appointments or your
Mhm.
dentist appointments, like you're not taking care of yourself.
Right.
That's not love. You're not like
Yeah.
loving yourself. And
Yeah.
even as little as brushing your teeth before bed, brushing
Yeah.
your teeth in the morning, like that is a form of self-love to yourself. Because
Wow.
you're saying, I love this body so much that
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of it. Just like
Mhm.
when we exercise, right? We're
Mhm.
exercising because it's a way of thanking our body for being
Yeah.
here and knowing that we're able to move it. So all of that is so important. I feel like not a lot of people see what like self-love is, a big umbrella, and
Yeah.
it's really about taking care of yourself in every single way, in
Yeah.
the way that you interact daily,
Yes.
even cleaning up after yourself at
Oh
home.
my gosh. Yes.
It's
Okay.
that's
That
a go ahead,
I'm
go ahead.
guilty of that. So
It's
it's just
okay. I was
yeah.
too.
So it's just me and my youngest now at home. And so the dishes will be piling up. I'm like, I'm not cleaning that. Who's gonna clean that? And I was like, Joanna, you basically live by yourself now. Like, so you have to clean up after yourself. And I'm not messy, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this, right? So I just had to get into the mindset. Actually, matter of fact, this morning after breakfast, I just like, okay, wash my dish because I expect my kids to clean up after themselves. So I'm like, that's one of the examples I need to set instead of being like, well, I told you, right? Setting that
Yeah.
expectation and not following through.
Uh,
I'm like, guilty.
Oh, yeah. And those are things actually for myself and my
Yeah.
self-love journey that I had to check myself. Like
Yeah.
it was the little things I wasn't doing, the things that I was lazy at, that I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I want to be this like person, but I'm not
Yeah.
aligning with that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so it's like little things like making your bed, like folding
Yeah.
your clothes after you do laundry, washing the
Yeah.
dishes after you cook. It
Yeah.
might seem like it's a little thing, but it's like, no, those things start to add up because when
Mm-hmm.
you start doing it, it's like you embody this like highest version of yourself I can't explain.
I completely understand what you're
That's
saying because so for me, like if I were to walk into somebody's house, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with your mind? Because if you see, right, like your house is messy, your desk is cluttered with a lot of things, that to me is a sign like, hey, there's something internally wrong. There's something that's going
hmm
on. So if you have your house in order and you make your bed, put away your laundry, then that creates good habits so that way you can focus on something else instead of like, wow, this is going to pile up. And I'm looking around my room because in the last like 2 days, I've been working on that. So I did laundry today right before the call. And I'm like, okay, I'm slowly like putting things away because normally I would just set it on that chair, the chair.
yeah, everyone has that chair.
That
Everyone
chair, you
has
put
that
the
chair.
laundry. I was like, okay. And then you just like push it off, then put it back on your bed. Push it. It's just a constant like, okay, girl,
or
please.
when you put your laundry on your bed and you're like, okay, if I put it here, I'm gonna have to fold it. Then you go to
Take it
bed
off.
at night and you're like, wait, I'll do it tomorrow.
For real. Oh, girl, no, that's a bad habit. I was like, okay, yeah, something's gotta change.
No, no, definitely.
Oh,
And you know what? Like coming from a Latin
yeah.
household, I firsthand see like my mom, like she just has a bunch of shit everywhere and
Yes.
it's hard for her to get rid of stuff. But it also stems from like where she's from and
Mm,
coming from nothing. So they're just like, they
yeah.
feel like they have to keep everything. So I understand that. But when there's just so much crap in your house and it's like
Yes.
messy and it's something about your mind. It's so hard for you to like think positive at all. Like it really
Yeah.
messes with your mind. And
It
so
really
even
does.
being here in my own place, like I do my best to keep it tidy, to stay
Hmm.
organized, to clean up after myself, to just make my place just feel nice. And that's a huge difference in my mind, in my
Yeah.
thinking, in the way I present myself every day
Yeah.
compared to when I was living at home. I love you, mom, but
Yeah.
it was just chaotic. Like my
Yeah.
mind was all over the place. It's just,
Oh my God.
it's so important to do those little things. It might not seem like it, but I can tell you,
Yeah.
pick up your laundry, fold your clothes. You're going to notice a difference.
Yeah.
Wash your dishes, brush your teeth, call
You're
your
your best thing.
doctor, go get checked. Yes.
Yeah. No,
Please do. Like,
seriously.
it's so important.
Yeah.
We might not think it is, but it is. And
Yeah.
all that aligns with our self love. Like, I truly
Mhm.
feel like when you can finally embody all those things and really
Mhm.
do those things,
Yeah.
that's when you'll get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can't be successful. We can't want all of this if we're not doing the little things.
And it's so easy to like want, right? Like you're sitting there looking at everybody else's life, like, I want that. But I was like, are you doing the things to get there? And once you start doing those things and you realize, man, this is hard shit, that's when you start questioning yourself, right? But if you start doing those little things like your bed, your laundry, your doctor's appointment, 'cause you're showing up for yourself. You make the appointment, you book it. So then day comes like, okay, and then something else happens or you're scared, you're nervous, and then you don't show up. You're not showing up for yourself. And then you're like, okay, but I really need that cleaning, you know? So you're not wrong. You're not
And there's
wrong.
another thing I want to point out too that I
Yeah.
know a lot of people are not going to like, and I'm sorry. Alcohol.
Yeah.
Okay. Alcohol is
Let's talk
poison
about
and
it.
it has
Yeah.
been, I'm actually going to do a separate podcast on it,
Yeah.
but I will lightly touch on the self love part with alcohol.
Oh my God.
I
Yeah.
had to, this is for me, like, I had to get real with myself when it came
Yeah.
to alcohol and be like, why am I? It's not like I drink every day, right? I'm not like an
Right.
alcoholic. I don't have to have a beer or a drink every day, but I
Right.
do like to have fun. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm a good time.
Yeah.
So I drink here and there, but I'm like, is this getting me to where I want to be? Is this helping me with my
Yeah.
goals? And it wasn't. And
Mm,
so self-love is like realizing that this
mm,
stuff, this alcohol is not aligning with my higher self. If anything,
mm,
it's bringing me down to a lower frequency.
you're
And
not
so
lying. Mhm.
and
Mm.
and so I was just like, you know what? Like I why do I need to drink this? Why? For what?
Yeah.
To feel
Yeah.
like shit the next day and then to
Right.
to feel even worse, for my
And
self-love to
sad
feel
and
even lower.
bloated. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I have to love myself so much that I have to say no to these things that are not good
Yeah.
for my body.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying stop drinking. I'm not saying, you can't have fun, but
Right.
just take a moment to recognize
Yeah.
if you're drinking a lot
Yeah.
and you really want to embody self love and you want to
Yeah.
be on this journey, there's
Yeah.
going to be things that you have to sacrifice. There's
Oh
going to
my
be things
gosh. Yeah.
that you got to look at and be like, why am I doing this? Is this helping
Mhm.
me towards my higher self? Is this helping
Mhm.
me towards my goals? Is
Mhm.
this aligning me? And nine
Yeah.
out of 10 times,
It's
it's not.
not. No, it's not. And thank you for touching on that subject because after my breakup in 2023, girl, I coped with alcohol. Girl, I started smoking cigarettes. This girl, they was girl, yes, I was
You were
amped
at
on
your
cigarettes.
lowest.
I was so low, Veronica. I was so low.
It's
I
real
was
once you start saying Veronica.
for real, girl. I started dressing like a man. I was like, I'm gonna become a lesbian, like F
Girl,
man.
come over to the dark side. No.
I was like, oh my gosh. I Girl, it was bad. It was so bad. And then summer of 2023 is when I got a job at the hospital. And that hospital was stressed. I started drinking more. Um, and it got to the point where I was drinking every single day. I was still going to the gym. I was still doing, my positive stuff, but I was like coping that way and it was not good. I gained so much weight. And so Thanksgiving of this past Thanksgiving, I was like, I had 2 bottles of wine by myself. And I started like crying because like thinking about, my kids. It was the first Thanksgiving that we didn't have together. Um, and thinking about like the kids' dad and like why men are so mean to me but I allowed that, because I didn't love myself. And so I was like I was a pick me girl. I was like, love me, pick me, choose me, like I was because
Filling that void,
girl, yes. And it got
chasing
so
the wrong thing.
I really was. And I started therapy and I came to a realization. I was like, you know what? I don't want to drink anymore. And so I stopped. And so it affects a lot with your gains, with your mental health, your skin. My skin, girl, I was looking like a gator.
Yeah, it really does mess with your skin.
No, it does. Like on my chest, I was like, I know I'm
Everything.
getting. Oh, I know I'm getting older, but no, this is alcohol. You know. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
Okay. So as we start wrapping up, I want to
yeah,
ask you one question and then I'm going to answer a question that a viewer sent to me.
yeah. Of
So the
course.
so this question that I have for you is,
Yes,
as a mom, I
yeah,
know there's going to be other moms that are watching this.
yes,
What is your advice to them as a mom? How can they embody self-love knowing that they're balancing their children, probably
yeah.
balancing work,
Right.
cleaning out the house,
Yeah.
firsthand as a mom the things
Yes.
that you have to do on a daily and how
Oh my
hard it
gosh.
can be sometimes to choose yourself and
Yeah.
prioritize your well-being.
I think
So
that's
what
the
advice
hardest
would
part.
you
Yeah.
give?
I think my advice to moms, especially single moms, you really do got to put that mask on first. Pour into you first. It's not putting your children in the back burner. And I know that mom guilt is so real. It's so real because it eats you up. But I have to say, it's very important to put yourself first. Just do one little thing, just one little thing for yourself before you start your day, or at least sometime during that day to fill your cup so that way you can be strong for your babies. Because if they don't see you pouring and loving yourself and combing your hair and washing your face and making your bed, your babies are going to see that and they're going to hurt because you're hurting. And so for me, loving yourself means taking the time to take a shower, getting ready for the day. Because if you look good, you feel good. I think,
Say that again.
yes,
If
girl,
you look
for
good,
real. You feel
you feel good.
good. Yes.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that
of
with us and
course.
just sharing your journey with us. It takes a lot to come on here
Oh my
and
gosh. I
share
thank
your
you so
journey with
much.
strangers.
Yes. Yes,
Okay, as we're closing up, let's go into this last question. So, this is what was said to me, okay, you guys?
okay.
I've gained weight since I got married. Does this mean he is not for me?
No.
Sis, no. That means you need to put the snacks down.
Yes, girl.
That's what it means. No, no, no. Let's
Yes.
get serious. Let's get serious. No, just because you gained weight does not mean that he's not for you. The only thing I would ask you is to really dig deep in understanding why you've gained the weight. For
Yeah.
example, I'm going to give you an example for me. In my first podcast, I talked about how in my last relationship, I was gaining weight and I felt like the relationship wasn't for me. First, I want to specify that our relationship didn't end because I was gaining weight. Actually, when we first got together, I was in the best shape of my life. Like I was on top of it. So I don't blame the relationship for my weight gain. It was like a year after our relationship, I got promoted and I was pretty much overseeing three executives, a CEO, a COO, and another executive. So I was balancing that for the first time and I was literally working 24/7. It almost felt like that.
Yeah.
And I just would snack because I was like so exhausted. Like my mind was
Mm.
just running every day. And then I stopped going to the gym. And then I
Mm.
hurt my knee. So like a bunch of
Oh
stuff
no.
just started happening. And then my relationship wasn't going too great because there was some stuff going on where we almost broke up. And then when we decided to get back together and work on things, I started grad school. So I not only have this full-time job, but I'm in grad school and I'm also trying to rebuild this relationship that I felt was already done because
Yeah.
of what we had gone through. So all that played a role in my weight gain. And to answer the question is, do I feel like, is this man not the right one because I've gained weight? My answer is no. I
Yeah.
don't
I
think that's
agree.
true.
No.
It's
Yeah.
more of just like looking at your life and
Yeah.
understanding why you've gained the weight. But what I will
Mm-hmm.
say is voicing how you feel to your partner is
Yeah.
essential. And if you
Communication is
voice to your
key.
husband,
Yeah.
yes, if you voice to your husband or wife that you
Yeah.
feel like you're unhappy because you've gained weight and they don't
Mm-hmm.
support you,
Mm-hmm.
that to me, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
It's not their job to do it, but as your husband and wife, you make a commitment. You vow
Yeah.
to each other. And it's so important to have a supportive partner
Yes.
and someone that's going to be like, you know what, babe? All right, let's meal prep together. Let's eat
Yeah.
healthier. Let's make better choices. Let's go to the gym together.
Yeah.
Those I
Yeah.
would say are the qualities you want to look for in a partner when you're
Mm-hmm.
voicing that kind of thing to them.
But if you don't voice it, they are never gonna know. And so it might be scary to have those kind of conversations. And in my past relationships, I did not communicate. I sucked at it. And so I would always guess and assume. And so they say the number one thing to never assume anything. Yeah.
Yes, my
Oh,
therapist told me that too. Never ever assume. That's a whole
never.
other,
Yeah.
but
But anyway, so yeah. So
we're not mind readers.
yeah.
As much as we
Yeah.
want to be, we're not.
Sometimes I was like, "Girl, read my mind. You know what I'm trying to say."
Mm.
But
I
anyway,
mean, I'm not
yeah.
gonna lie. I feel like I have a gift, and I feel like I can't read minds, but I
Yeah.
can like read your energy.
Energy. Yeah. Me
Hmm.
too. The empath in us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a curse, but it's also
A
a
blessing.
blessing. Yeah.
Amen.
But
Thank you so much for
anywho,
having
so
me.
thank you. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you so much for being here, for sharing your story, for being vulnerable. I'm so
Yeah.
excited that we got to get to know you a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Or
Go ahead and tell the viewers where they can find you if they want to.
yes,
You can share your
via
Instagram handle if you
Edmerosa.
want.
Yes. IG or Facebook, Jojo Marie. So I would love to answer any questions or any tips. I'll be happy to share that with you guys. Thank you so much for letting me share my story, my journey.
Of course. Thank you. So everybody, thank you so
Bye,
much.
guys.
Uh, we'll see you at the next episode. I
Yes.
appreciate you. Share, comment, give us your feedback, and don't forget to send in your questions so we can answer for them live on the
Yes.
podcast. Until then, you guys, have a beautiful day.
Bye-bye, guys.